Hello everyone and welcome to another video. This is Player Dandy and today we're looking at another expanded deck for the upcoming regionals leading up to Cosmic Eclipse. And today we have Zoroark Garbodor. Zoroark Garbodor has been a strong contender in the past format for expanded, but going into this vacuum, it's looking to solidify itself again as a top contender for the expanded format. It has a lot of tools to go with it, no pun intended. You want to draw into you want to draw very aggressively with trade, and then set up behind Garbotoxins if you need to, breaking the ability lock with your tool removal cards if necessary, and then closing out the game with Trash Launches on high HP Pokemon. For Zorua with the Ram, it's probably the second best behind the Paralyzing Gaze one, but this is the current one I have. I would run Paralyzing Gaze if I had the choice though. For Zoroark, trade your main ability to see plenty of cards throughout the game, and Ride is beating probably your main attack until your Trash Lance becomes live once your opponent commits too many items to the discard pile. One Garbage Collection Trubbish, great way to recycle resources and set up for game-winning plays by putting a certain supporter you need or item back on top of your deck. The other two Trubbish I chose to use is the Stomp Off one. Stomp Off has some synergy with Trash Lines being able to mill the top card of your deck, but it could also help in some situations where your opponent is stacking their deck with certain cards. Two Garbotoxin Garbodor, one of the key cards in the deck to shut off abilities. A very powerful card that should not be underestimated, because a Garbotoxin under an N to low hand size could really bring you back into the game and really shut your opponent out from making any relevant plays for several turns. Two Trash Lance Garbodor, it's your finishing Pokemon. Once your opponent commits too many items to the discard pile, this can do a ton of damage, and against Psychic Weak Pokemon, it could get online even faster. Two Tapu Lele GX, great consistency card and also a decent attack with Energy Drive if you need to use it if your opponent has committed a ton of energy to their main attackers. With Roadblock, if you're going second or even first, this placing on your bench really makes it annoying for your opponent to set up sometimes, especially if they're a deck trying to place several set of Pokemon onto their bench to get going. One Wobbuffet with the Bide Barricade. Ideally, it's mostly used for, or typically rather, it's mostly used for the ability to prevent your opponent from using their setup Pokemon. But sometimes Psychic Assault could come in handy because it does hit for weakness and the damage could rack up to finish off any Pokemon that you hit with a Riot being the turn before or earlier in the game. One Klefki with Wonderlock. It's a kind of way to temporarily turn on your Garbotoxin's ability. One Oranguru with Resource Management. It's a great way to recycle cards that you need, and also works extremely well with trade once you've drawn through your entire deck. And finally, Ditto Prism Star acts as any sort of basic that you want to evolve into a Zoroark or into a Garbodor. Items: 4 Ultra Ball, 4 VS Seeker, 2 Mysterious Treasures. It finds your Garbodor line, Wobbuffet, and Tapu Lele's. 2 Blowers. This is a way to not only remove pesky tools and stadiums that your opponent has put into play, but also remove the Garbotoxin lock from you so you could freely trade and then turn on the lock again if you need to with another tool. 1 Stretcher. Great way to return any Pokemon you need that were either discarded from earlier in the game or knocked out. 1 Evo Soda. Since our 2 main evolution lines are extremely important, it's a great way to evolve directly from the deck. A spec of choice is Comp Search. I love the consistency of it. Could find you the DCE or the supporter that you really need for the turn, and even tools that you want to attach to Garbodor. Supporters: 3N. N is huge in this deck. This deck usually plays from behind, so going into an N and attaching, either turning on Garbodor, it's Garbotoxin, and then going into N, or vice versa, is extremely game breaking and can swing the tide in your favor. To Bridget, again, the evolution lines are both extremely important. One follow gets rid of more annoying special energies, stadiums, and tools, and gets rid of them permanently because it sends to the Lost Zone. One Chorus in any sort of deck that can abuse Chorus's draw, especially in Expanded, where there are a lot of set decks that spam the bench or go wide with Skyfield, is a great way to draw into massive amount of cards without discarding. One Professor Juniper, sometimes you just need to pitch your hand and draw a fresh one, and any sort of Professor Oak ability or Professor Oak type effect will be the best way to do that. One Guzma, the preferred Gust effect for the deck, works extremely well in this deck, particularly because we run for Floatstones. Spice of the deck, one Shauna, just a way to lower your hand size in the event that you drew too many cards or you might see yourself decking out soon. But honestly, just testing it out, maybe Cynthia's just better, or even Hugh is probably the correct supporter for these long type of games where your opponent is you're maybe drawing too much, and your opponent is also amassing a huge hand size. Two Choice Band instead of the typical dumbbells. I think now that with the HP going higher with the tag team GXs, Choice Band can help Zoroark 2-shot now. 4 Floatstone to turn on Garbotoxin and use as a pivot. Energy, 3 Psychic, 4 DC. One thing you might have noticed is that this version doesn't run any stadiums, which is pretty risky. You could consider running Parallel Cities or maybe Silent Labs, but could also consider adding or dropping Klefki counts depending on how you play the deck and how you play with your Garbotoxin. So that's it for the deck profile. Thanks again for watching, and have a fun and safe Halloween, and good luck at the Expanded Regionals.